You will be seated so that we start the next session. May we be seated. We can buy everything after doing lunch, doing the breaks, but we can't be buying stuff now. Who can see what I was worthy? Who can see what I was worthy? Father was I'm looking for the one. If you can't find it, it's fine, it's okay. But we have to start. Please, may we all be seated? May we all be seated? And those who are selling, please, let's just respect each other. Our next topic is on the format. And I will ask Father Mohasa to tell us about himself before he joined the Franciscan family and when he was in the family. Please, Father Mohasa, may you come forward and tell us about
Maybe I come in front. These are good. Brother Michael Mohasa, OFM Kapuchi, Uganda. And sister has just asked me to share something, but there are many things. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to say. I just ask the Spirit of God to give me a few things that will be relevant to what we are doing here. It's about my vocation, my journey. And I want to begin in my background. Yeah. In my family, we were born many, 12 children. But one died, and we are still 11. And we are not very rich, we are not too poor. But when I grew up in a Catholic family. My parents, my mother and father were Catholics, and they instilled in me the faith, Catholicism. I loved it, and I grew up like that. And when I was a youth and I was at school, I started having the feeling of becoming a religious, but something would prevent me from thinking about it too much. I would not give it much time because we did not have enough money for me to go to the seminary and to do all these things and to become a priest. I used to see it from afar. I would admire this from afar, but this factor, I knew that the seminarians pay a lot of money for them to become priests. So I did not give it much time. I would think about it and leave it there. And so in my life, when I was studying at school, I became a youth leader in my church. I joined this charismatic group, and I started doing ministry in my own way. My home was near the hospital, and so I would go for ministry in the evening. This time I was in Form 3, but God gave me the courage to do the ministry. I would go to the hospital, I pray for the people, one by one, and I would find many things there. I would share with them the word of God, and those that needed baptism, those who are at the point of death, I would also baptize them. Yes, and I used to do these things without knowing what will happen after. So one time, a friar came to our school and talked about St. Francis of Assisi. And when he was talking to us, I felt touched. When I heard the story of St. Francis, I was touched about his story. And I went home touched. I was wounded by those words. They left something in my heart, a lot of impact in me. But still I say it can't be possible. First of all, we were far away from where the Franciscans were. This was the first time I saw a friar, and after talking to us, went away. The following year, this friar came back to our school, and this time I was not there. My friends were there. Because I had finished O level and I was preparing to go for A level. These friends of mine, they were asked to write some applications, and they applied for me. They applied for me. Let us write an application. They are going, they take them. So they took my application, and after a few days, like a month, the vocation director sent me a letter inviting me to come to the Come and See program. When I saw the letter, my friends had briefed me how they applied for me. I said, yeah, I will go for the Come. Let me just go and see what that means. And we were many from my school, we were like 15 of us going for the Come and See. And we had never come to Kampala. You know, I come from the other side, far away, in those villages in that sense. And we had never come to Kampala. It was my first time. This was in the year 2000, some years back. And so we came for the Come and See program. And there are three things that again touched me. The humility of the brothers. That was one thing that I observed. It was hard to know who is a priest. Only when we are going for mass, you see them sorting themselves. The priest will go to the altar, the non-priest will mingle with others, and the life was almost the same. When it's time for eating, we eat the same food. When we are washing the dishes after eating, we are all doing it. The humility converted me a little bit that I think this is the right place to be. Come and see. The other thing that touched me was that community life, the common life, the life in the fraternity. That these brothers loved each other. They had concern for each other. If someone had a problem, it's for them all. I observed this thing also. I say, I want to belong to a brotherhood where people have life in common and their life is directed by the gospel. I also noted that. The other thing that I noted was the holiness that I found there in the community. And every evening, from morning, early morning, we wake up, we go for meditation, we read the scriptures, we do mass, and during midday around the day we have prayers, we go and pray, and in the evening we go for adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. And the incense was there. Something nice was around, a nice aroma of holiness in the priory. For 1 month, I saw that, I observed that, and in my heart I say, this is what I want to be. So they told us, go back home and discern your vocation. If you feel like you want to come back, if you feel what you have seen is what you want to live, then you will come back after some time. I went back home. I shared with my family members. Some of them hesitated. A few of them said, it's okay. You can go, but if you find it hard, you still come. We have many things for you. So I came back. I started my formation, and these things kept on helping me. I kept on seeing them, what I had seen during the Come and See program, and I tried to be part of them, to grow in holiness. The thing that I loved most, the thing that I wanted most. Around this time, there were many things happening. You know, when you are in formation, somehow, it was a little bit hard. I used to have some discouragements here and there. I remember one time, I think, this is the life again that I'm going to live completely. I went to the Formator. I told him, let's give me some time. I want to go back home. My mind had told me, if you go, don't come back. So I told him, I want to go back home. He asked me, what are you going to do? I said, I feel like I should leave this place. He told me, he gave me some prayers to say, and told me, I'm giving you 3 days to say these prayers. And if you finish these prayers and you still feel that you want to go home, you will come back to me and talk. So he directed me. I had packed my things, waiting for those 3 days so that I go back home. I finished the first day doing the prayers. The second day, I started feeling a voice within me, sort of confirming me in the vocation that God has called me to be. And when the third day came, I went to my format and I told him, give me some time. I changed my mind. I packed my things, I put them back in their right places, and I continued with life. Yeah. But I kept on seeing the humility of the brothers, the life of St. Francis himself, the community life that the brothers were living, and the life of holiness, something that I had longed for. And I want to be brief now. I continued with the formation. Each time I had moments of discouragement. Each time I felt like drawing back. These few things that I had seen kept on calling me. They kept on calling me. And at the same time, I went home for holidays. And when I reached there, I told myself, and we not come back. Because we were many, actually out of the 15, 2 of us reached the end of the nation. 2 of us. So the group kept on reducing, others would go, others would be told to go, others would just decide from nowhere. And at this time, I said, I'm not going to come back. You know what happened during that period of time? There are certain things that I started missing. And what I missed most was being in the presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. I had no access to that. The parish was very far. Even if you go to the parish, the settings are different. You just go to the church and you can't have it the way we have it in the community. I missed that. And to make my decision, I said, I want to be close to Jesus, who is there, the most holy sacrament. That's where I want to spend my life. And this encouraged me. I came back to the priory. I continued. After ordination, we will go to that to make the story short. There are certain things that I promised God at the very beginning, immediately after ordination. I told God a few things. And I asked Him to protect me from certain things that I was already seeing, I was observing around. And God was faithful. I told God at least for 2 years. At least for 2 years, maintaining peace. And God was faithful and did it even more than 2 years, what I had asked for. And I got some strength. Actually, what I do now as a religious goes back to the first 2 years of my priesthood. It's where I got my strength. It's where I organize a few things. And what I have, I began to, people would call me to preach retreats, especially to the religious. And whenever I would go there, I would learn something and I would share. I liked St. Francis. Each time I talk about St. Francis, I speak with passion. I like that because those values that he has, and if I go out to share, those are the things that I share about. So I discovered other few things each time I prepared myself to go and give a talk somewhere to the sisters, sometimes to the brothers. I picked a few things that have become part of my life up to this time. When I speak about them, I speak from the heart. There are other things that have happened to me. Yeah, in a negative way. Sometimes I have not been very, very faithful in my calling. There are things that have pulled me out. But each time they pull me out, I hear the voice within me calling me. And when I come back and sit in the chapel before the Blessed Sacrament, I always hear this voice, this is where I should be. This is the right place. I have a place in the chapel where I sit. And one time, I just heard that before you do anything, before you go for preaching, before you go for ministry, this is where you must sit. Spend some time here, and you will get what to do, where you are going to do your work. And I have seen that each time I go for ministry, when I have not sat down, it does not go on well. Maybe I'm caught up in business and what have you, and I just go. I have seen how it becomes hard for me to. But then I remember the voice keeps on coming. This is where you must sit. And I have also seen the hand of God touching me. Also, I have seen God speaking each time I go when I have sat there. before Jesus in the blessed Son. I want to say thank you to God who is still sustaining me up to this time in my calling. It has not been, I've not achieved this alone. My brothers in the community have played a big role because they know me. They know my weaknesses. They also know my strength. They support me. They bring me back when I'm about to go, talk about it. What about this? What about that? And I find myself getting that strength that I need. And then, after the brothers have sorted ourselves, when I go to Jesus, it is even more. Because this is the one we serve. This is the reason why we are there. And actually, I have also discovered that without him, I cannot have even 2 steps ahead. Each time I have a challenge, I call him to come and be part of me, come and be with me, move on with that challenge. And I have seen him in many ways, in my situation, in my challenges. Sometimes he has fought my battle. And just, he has done it. He has taken away big things, some other things, he has cleared them. And I still find myself focusing on him. It's by his grace, I pray that the Spirit of God will sustain me in the call that he has called me. Since I don't know that I have said anything that's really meaningful, but I thank God for being a Franciscan. I'm proud of being a Franciscan. Franciscans like us here, I know that we can change the world. We can change it. Because when I look at our seraphic father, how he started his journey from nowhere, he didn't study theology, he did not know much about the things of God, about the Bible. Actually, we know more. We know more than what he knew. But if he managed to make an impact during his time, and he was alone, he started alone. When I see all these people around, we can do something. We can change Africa. We can contribute something. And as I was listening to the talks, sometimes I was touched how sad it is that we are too many like this and we are not known. There is no impact. There is nothing. I was just too sad within me because I was looking at myself. What have I contributed? The other time I was celebrating the birthday, that is last year. And I looked at myself, the age I was celebrating, and I also looked at Francis, the age at which he died. I just looked at myself and I said, I have wasted time. Francis died at early age. The impact he caused the people around him was so great. Me, I'm just too old. I look around, I don't seem to see what I have done. And deep within me, I felt I needed more grace of God to be able to contribute, at least to the spirituality of others, leading them to God. Thank you very much, Sister. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Father, for such an inspiring story. And I think we all have learned something from what he said. I'd asked the Father was to say something, is a diocesan, and we would also want to hear something about how he was before he joined the clergy. But Father, I'm just giving you 2 minutes. I'm sorry that I just 2 minutes. 6 minutes.
So you said you want to know more. Yes, you want to know how I was before.
It ranges with the place.
Okay. It's a very simple story. From the gun to the Bible. What? From the gun to the Bible. In 1986, this country went into war from northern Uganda and northeastern Uganda. We had what we call FOBA, Force of Water Back again. Then later it became Uganda People's Army. So I was abducted and I became a rebel. So I was a rebel for some time. And then it took one sister. It was Francis. Sister, that's the small. May I ask you that in peace? The one who picked me from the bush and told me, you can become a priest. Like father, people applied for him. For me, it was since I wrote the application. She wrote the application to the vocation director. Then from there, I was told. But you know, that time it was a bit shaky. I didn't want to go to the seminary, but she kept on pushing me. Let me go. For her sake. I went to Katigondo. First year, I wanted to leave, just like father. But I got a friend from Kinderberg. I said, oh, please, keep on. Second year, I wanted to leave. Again, the friend said, keep on. So I said, now, since the friends have prevented me from going, I better become unruly. So I became chaotic. Breaking things and doing funny things. I remember one day, I used to play basketball very well. So I nearly beat one of the priests from Kampala. I called Father Mugongi. I nearly beat him up in the basketball court. And I knew that with this, I can now be sent away. Unfortunately, for me, when the staff members sat, they discovered Father Mugongi was on the wrong. I reacted because he was on the wrong. So it was Father Adrian Rekaka from Barara. He's the one who listened to my story and said, this man was on the wrong, was not wrong. It was Father Mugongi was on the wrong. When it came to voting, 14 out of 15 voted for me to continue the ministry. Meaning that Mugongi was the one who didn't vote for me. Then from over there, I was ordained in 2002. From the time I was ordained until today, I am the youth chaplain. I work with the youth, I deal with the youth. And somewhere in 2010, I was crossing from Direction to OFM. So I was assigned to Lushoka Parish. Those of you who have been to Lushoka, I've been to Lushoka several times. Lushoka and Kakoba. Now, the council sat in Rome to allow me now to go officially to Franciscan OFM. And the bishop said, I cannot let you go because of the youth. So I didn't confine there because of the youth. But I have Franciscanism in my heart. From that sister, I learned she was a very down-to-earth sister, very bold and practical. She would even make hand-sewn clothes for me. You know when you're coming from the bush. So that's why I came here. And I think this kind of training, I've been reading a lot. I have 2 very recent books from the fraternity in the US. One is called Young to Franciscanism, and the other one is the Essential Documents of Secular Franciscanism. I've read them very well. So that when I see what's taking place here, it's like, I already know them. I already know what is being said here. I'm only waiting one day to be professed as a secular Franciscan. The other one was denied, but in this one, I think I'll not miss it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will talk about that later, but I just want you to look at the background of where these people who have been called are coming from, the kind of life that they've been living, and what happens after formation. So we are looking at the person of the We are looking at the person of the format. Any formation must result in transformation. So when you are doing formation, you must know that you are giving shape to something. You are constructing something. You are forming something. That should be in the mind of the formator when she starts the journey of formation with these candidates. So formation must also help somebody to go to a level where they can really look at their lives, and they must also develop emotionally, morally, psychologically, intellectually, spiritually, and socially. It is very easy to see somebody and judge them by the way they behave. You can tell the person where the person is coming from by what they say and how they respond to some of the things. So it is very important for the formator to make sure that all these levels are achieved during the time that you go through formation with the people who have come to join you. Formation journey will help us to appreciate the Franciscan family at local, national, international level. The formation to Franciscan spirituality is holistic. It deals with the whole person. So you must make sure that when you are doing formation with the candidates or those people who come to join us, you are developing the whole person. It bridges the false distinction between the spiritual and non-spiritual, revealing that there is a spiritual dimension to every part of life. You know, sometimes we are just swept off with anything that we come across. So when we are doing formation with people must understand that anything that they do and everything is with a spiritual dimension on it. Therefore, formation is transmission of vital knowledge, emotions, and vibrations coming from the real living experience, which involves our whole being. It is very important to know that you cannot form people by telling them what to do. It doesn't work. I think from the presentation that we had from Father, he said that most of the help that he got it from the life experiences that he had with his brothers in the community. So when we are doing formation, we must make sure that we share and we live what we tell people. And from what Father also said, he said that when he came for come and see, there are some certain things that he experienced in the family. And those things kept him going. Sometimes we do formation with the people and they come and join us. But when they are with us, they like the things that we promised them or the things that we told them that they will find in the fraternities. So, what is the format? From the presentation that was given by Jenny, God is saying, before you were formed, I knew you. God formed us the way He wanted us to be. And as a formator, we have a mission, we have an objective. You have to make sure that that objective is achieved by the way you form the people. So you are an artist. If you want your people to be prayerful, you have to make sure you form them in such a way that they will be prayerful. If you want the people to live the gospel, live it. Just like St. Francis did. You have heard from Father that St. Francis did not know the Bible as much as we do now. But look at the impact that he has caused. After more than 800 years, we are still talking about it. A soldier like St. Francis, and we have Father now, from the gun to the Bible. And we have got our witnesses that we were living in the world. What has formation done to us? Has it brought an impact, a change in our lives? As you can see, I've got my brother close to me here. Can you see those empty babies? Father, can you say that? I'm talking about the formator. And the formator cannot join on his phone. We are only doing initial formation. And Father, may you please tell us how many years have you been in formation?
The last 6 years, and it is not something that you can say maybe it's enough. There is still what we call ongoing formation. That each time there is something new coming up. So even for those who are formators, still don't say, ever since I became a formator, I have had enough, but I'm ready to give. Still, even what you have to give, you have also to learn from others. Yeah, the ongoing formation. Now, I've already talked of ongoing formation, but let me go back from the initial formation, right from the time of having felt I have a vocation. The formation program took me 13 years. 13 years to priesthood. And in between, there was the Clemency program, postulancy, first and second year, novitiate 1 year, theology 3 years, pastoral experience 1 year, then theology 4 years. But up to now, still I feel there is still yet to learn. And you have heard of discernment, isn't it? Huh? Yeah, the discernment process, it is also an ongoing. For instance, this morning you heard about the gospel. He talked about one member who maybe struggles and calls for the issue of forgiveness, isn't it? How many times have you heard that gospel being read? And each time it is read, you can't say, yeah, excuse me, we have already heard about that, read something new. Have you ever had somebody have such an experience? Because the word of God in itself is something alive and active. Each time we hear about it, it has something new coming up with it. If you listen, maybe you heard of Father when he said he felt at times of packing his belongings and. But now if you sit down and also listen, that very voice the voice that called you the first time, if you keep on listening, that voice is still there, ready to give you the right direction, only if you listen. At times we have many voices in our world today. One may not necessarily identify which voice is the right one. Remember Christ giving an example that be careful. There are also wolves dressed in the sheep's skin. So at times, even when one thinks things are okay, you may find yourself listening to a voice almost similar to that of the shepherd, but maybe it is not. And even when one thinks, okay, now I have become a member of OFS, now mine is just to sit and watch and maybe look at others who want to join, but there's still more to learn. Only if we can at times maybe revisit the first calling. Because when we are called, we get excited, isn't it? There's that passion. But slowly, that passion dies out. Some become very prayerful at the initial stage, very prayerful. The rosary always, but slowly the rosary goes to the neck of the necklace, and slowly they forget about it. But also through prayer, we discern and we are also enlightened to really know the one who called us also has a mission. You know, you can be called, yes, but before you're given instructions, you have already done your own things. Just as well, you can become an OFS, yes. But slowly, you start maybe having your own self-discovery, and you want to transform things, and eventually have something that has totally no identity. So the process of discernment, the process of formation is something ongoing. Each day there is something new to learn. And not until we also have some time to sit down and meditate. As the statement goes, brothers and sisters, up to now we have done nothing. For sure, if you ask for inspiration, you will be directed on what exactly needs to be done.
Thank you very much, Father. Father Mohasa said that he was coming from the village. And you know the life of the friars, how they sit on the table, how they eat, and you are coming from the village, and someone has to teach you how to use a fork, how to use a knife, and you are used to using your hands. Sisters can also say that. You are coming from the back of beyond, and you are joining the congregation. You have to be taught every day. At home, we can wake up anytime. We don't have a timetable, we don't have a structured program. There are very few families we have such structures. But most of us, we can wake up anytime, we can eat anytime, we can sing anytime, we can shout anytime. To join the community, you have to live like somebody who is in the community. You take your news at certain times. You pray at times that sometimes you want to go on WhatsApp. But because you are supposed to live in a community, you really have to adjust. And the formators have a lot of work to do. I thought, Father, you are praying because, like you said, you are in the formation for 6 years. You are dealing with somebody who has been in the bush, like you were saying. And through the process, while he was in the seminary, he was taught how to live with others, how to respond, how to live with the faithfuls who come to him with so many different problems. It was through the process of formation he was able to. Now you can go and ask for advice. You know, sometimes we go to them, we want advice about marriage, our marriages, and they are not married. Very serious problems that we bring to them. But because they've gone through that process of formation, they've been taught how to deal with us, how to advise. They can do it. So now we are talking about the person of the format. We don't just choose, we don't just pick anyone to be a format. Because that person, you can see from what the priest have said, that there is so much pruning that needs to be done. Spiritually, like Father was saying, he was charismatic, and he has joined again the Franciscan spirituality. The way things are done is different. So, these are the attributes that we look for when we are looking for a format. You must be physically, culturally, and spiritually reliable secular Franciscan. A formator must possess a certain degree of maturity, balance, and self-control. You know, there are some people, you tell them something here, by the end of the day, everybody knows about it. Something happens, they are already screaming about it. So, a formator must be somebody who's mature enough to handle pressure, to handle situations. You remember the previous day I was talking about drinking. I was talking about drinking. You know, I've seen some prayers drinking. They can sing and dance and fall when they are on their own. But normally you don't see them in public. Falling, singing, and showing that they can drink until they can drink no more. So that comes also with information. Why is it important to have somebody who is mature, balanced? Because those who come to us are vulnerable to our suggestions and bias. Therefore, we must provide psychological and sound formatting. From the pieces that I've talked about so far, they tell you the person who started their formation has a great impact on them. What they told him, or what they shared, it still makes an impact in their lives. Because those people who came to join, they are vulnerable. So just like us secular Franciscans, the people who come to join the order are vulnerable. What are we looking for when we talk of human and psychological maturity and self-control? We need somebody who can apply in their life what they are teaching. You know, it's very difficult to tell you that you should not steal when I'm always stealing. You must be ready to talk, not to lecture. You must be ready to talk to those people who are in information. You must also know your limitations. You know, there are some people who can read ahead, like we have just heard from the aspiring secular Franciscan member, that he has already read most of the stuff about the order. He comes and asks the formator, can you explain about this? And the formator gets mad. They think that maybe you are trying to expose that they have not read enough. But you must be prepared to say, no, I have to research, I have to go and check on this one. So you know your limitations, know what you know, and don't be afraid to accept your limitations. Take responsibility of personal actions and choices. Attempt to understand the meaning behind the words others say. You know, there are some people who don't even listen. They listen to answer. They don't even think about what we have said to them. So it is very important as a formator to be able to see beyond what the people in information are saying. And you must also stretch beyond one's comfort zone. You know, in Zimbabwe, there was a time when there were some influencers who were supposed to do their promise. And the animator said, these kids cannot take their promises today because I have some other business to do. Please, go beyond your comfort zone. Be ready to give your time and commit to what you said that you would do. Just like the priest, you went there at 12, Father, I've got a problem. No matter how tired he is willing to listen to you. Admit failures and apologize for mistakes. You know, it is very difficult to say sorry. But as a formator, you have to learn to say sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't intend to hurt you. It is very important to be able to apologize for the mistakes. Listen to others without interrupting or offering solutions. You know, that's the main problem that we have. We cannot listen, like I said, and all the time we've got solutions to other people's problems, but we don't have solutions to our problems. You can ask a question, somebody says something, ask a question, probe further. You know, sometimes the person has got answers to the problems that they have, but it just needs somebody who is mature, somebody who is balanced, and somebody who knows what he or she is doing information, so that you can assist. You take responsibility because you are the one who came up with solutions. You know, I always question the process of marriage when you are making vows. Sometimes you say it after the priest. Somebody can tell you that I was just following what the priest was saying. It's not me who said that. So it is very important to make sure each and every person takes responsibility of their problems. Of course, you can offer solutions, like Father God's solution that he was not told not to go home, if you remember what he said. He was asked to go and reflect more. He was given some prayers. What do we offer the people who come to us with problems? Do we tell them to go and pray? Understand that growth is possible, but perfection belongs to God. We want everyone else to be perfect, but are we perfect enough? Are we giving God the role of making everyone perfect? We can assist, and we must know our limitation. Perfection belongs to God. A good formator also must have Catholic and Christian dimension. A formator must possess sufficient knowledge of the Catholic faith. Action speaks louder than words. A formator must exhibit Catholic Christian behavior with consistent behavior. Both knowledge and witness are essential. We have some Christians. They can live like any other person in the world. You can't tell whether this person is a Christian or is not. Of course, they are living this sacramental life, but they are doing other things when they are not in church. Ask me about what I do on Sunday, but don't ask me about what I do other days of the week. We have people who are dying in hospitals, and nurses are complaining that they are not having enough salaries. If somebody dies, are you going to get the salary that you want? We have teachers who are calling for extra lessons, charging people, and they call themselves Christians. How Christian are we? When we cannot offer what we have, we have also people who are very influential in the government. But what are they doing? So many Catholics have high posts in government. Abortion is done. You facilitate the contraceptives. You are a nurse and abortion is to be done in hospital, and we have nothing to say. Sometimes we withdraw and you say, I am not the one who did the abortion. But stop the abortion. We must be people of private and liturgical prayer. Let us have more time to pray in public and on our own. In as much as we are saying we are doing the morning prayers, But what you have been doing the past days, sometimes it reflects much on what we are doing in our fraternities. How do we start the prayers? How do we respond? So it is very important to pray every time, like Father was saying, whenever he's going out, he has got a spot. And we must also have those spots in our homes. Because we are secular, we can't be in the church all the time. Do we have those places in our homes when you know that if I want to pray and I go and sit there, surely this prayer reach where it's supposed to go? We must, the formator must be also a person devoted to meditating on sacred scriptures, especially the gospel, going from gospel to life and life to gospel. You can read the Bible the whole day, whole week, whole month, and whole year. But if you're not living what you are reading, are you reading the Bible? And it's so interesting because sometimes we take these priests for granted. When you are talking to them, they might not tell you, but they can see. That's why they are able to help us to discern if we've got a vocation or if we do not have a vocation. Sometimes we go to them and we lie about our situations. You can succeed, but those who have got a devotion to Padre Pio, they can tell you, Padre Pio could see. A person committed to building up the church using God's given talents is supposed to be committed to building up the church using God's talents. This one is the biggest challenge. Everything, the formator wants to be sponsored on each and everything. Jenny, please, can you share with the house what I shared to you about my situation before I found something to do?
A very big concern is how can you give your time to the service? Are you able to manage your own personal life? How are you managing at home? Financially? Are you working? Have you got time? And I asked my sister, good, I'm very blessed, I have a motor vehicle. I can move around Johannesburg. Sister Eremenciana has long distance to travel on buses and taxis. Now I understood it. Wasn't it that she could get there quickly? And my dear sister, when I asked her, I said, I don't know how you're going to manage. Not working. How she's surviving and she's got to give so much time. She was making, please believe what she was making, very good money.
My husband died in 2007. And I was not employed then. I was buying and selling clothes, but during COVID, everything collapsed. So I was surviving on $60 US dollars that I was receiving from my husband's pension. And I was buying airtime. The plan was to communicate on the WhatsApp group and do all the researches that I could do for the order. I was using that $60. and still I had to make contributions in the fraternity that I belong to.
And she still got a home that needs food. And all the other essentials which we know. And you're not going to get any subsidy. I said, please, you're not going to get any funding from the presidency to help you to survive. Because where's the money going to come from?
Thank you, Jenny. I look up, I have a sister, an elder sister, she's disabled. And like I said, I don't have parents, they died when I was still at school. And I also have a niece. Last year, I just found that she was pregnant. The father is dead, the mother is dead, and I'm also taking care of them. But I don't complain about poverty because I'm not poor, I'm rich. I've never lacked. And I'm not boasting about it, but that's me. And that's how I'm surviving. So we have formators, they want to be sponsored on each and everything. I'm also a formator in my country. I've got to get material sometimes for the fraternity and for the regional fraternity. No one is willing to take out money from their pockets. It's okay. You know, sometimes we restrict God. Because if you have God can give you when you have more. And like I'm saying, if you look at me, I look like somebody who has got a car. I look like somebody who has got a very beautiful car. But thank God I got a home. And that's enough for me. And I have one child. And you know what that child decided to do? He decided to join the OFM. And really very good. So that's my story. And I wish if the formators would take that, don't be afraid to use your airtime. Do you need the airtime after all to do other things? You can save it for the order. And God knows that you have done that. So please let us share our gifts. I was impressed by the animator for Euphras in Kenya. He just made a communication to me and he said, I've paid some of the participation fee of the Euphras. Please let us pay for him. Share what we have. You are in a family, but you don't want to buy food for the family. So, my dear brothers and sisters, it is our responsibility to take care of the family that we belong to, just by offering those services for free and not expecting anything in return. Most of you here have heard that you sponsored yourselves to come here. Please let us thank them for those people who sacrificed their money to just come for this formation workshop. Rita from Nigeria made a communication. She said she borrowed the money that she was supposed to use. And you know what happened? She did not come because of the fees. But imagine she borrowed. We know how life is in Nigeria right now. She had to borrow the money. And you are not expected to pump up more than $20 a month. But we want to hold on to that money. And we are praying every day, please bless me and my family and my kids. I think I've said
Brothers and sisters, and especially be it the formators, there is what we can call a service to the order. The order as such We are the order. And at times you can be appointed. Specifically, let's talk about being a formator. And for you to really end up forming someone, there are some areas, as mentioned before, that you need to look into. There are people who may journey with you. Of course, they have their ups and downs, but eventually, as you journey with them, by the time they look back from where you got them and from where you are, they'll also feel that for sure you have been of service to them. I remember when they showed the word transformation there, automatically OFS appeared, isn't it? Now, the transformation process at times is not an easy one. And at times it may cause for sacrifice. Taking an example of somebody denying he or herself something in order to give that service that we're talking about. In the church in general, people like positions. Formerly, people could voluntarily give themselves, but nowadays some are even campaigning in order to be elected to some specific positions. And after they are elected, you find that the way they behave is when their true character now emerges. For you to be a really good formator, I think Christ is our model. For him, he called the disciples. And if you look at some of those disciples, had questionable characters, isn't it? That if at all it were on our side, we could even single them out and say, this one does not belong or even qualify. But because of that transformation, look at even St. Paul when he was still Saul. And after encountering Christ, there was that true transformation, and he became Paul. From that moment, henceforth, he became a totally different. And there was that metanoia, turning completely away from the past. Some of us in the years, by virtue of being formators, even the example itself betrays who we are supposed to be. For instance, you set a program that, okay, here are candidates maybe being prepared, and you set up a day when you will be meeting for instructions. But maybe they come, and you as a formator is missing. Or maybe you tell them maybe there is this and this program or these and these books of which you yourself do not have them. Yet you want them to? Are we together? Why are you silent? Am I talking to somebody? Yeah. So I want these students, sort of maybe aspirants, so to say, to be there on time. But already I'm giving an example of lateness. I'm already even discouraging some, saying, for you, others may take their promise, but for you, according to the way I see you, you can't qualify for this life. But again, giving our service to the order, up to now you are told you have done nothing. But ask yourself, how many people have you attracted to the order by virtue of who you are? Leave alone even telling them about OFS. But by virtue of just them seeing you and the feeling that actually I want to be like you. Now, there is a short story that normally is told of some people who went to visit their friends. And that friend had 3 children. When they arrived, the children were still at school. So when they were coming back home, these visitors were taking tea. The first child to arrive, these two visitors were amazed and they said, this child resembles the mother. The mother was so happy, even reminded the husband, I've been telling you this child resembles me. And after a short while, the second child also came in. And the visitors again looked and said, this one looked exactly like the father. Copyright. And all of a sudden, the third one also arrived. And they said, this third one, neither the mother or the father. Whose child could it be? So to begin with, we are called Christians, isn't it? But apart from being called Christians, our character, rather our behavior, a replica of Christ. Maybe don't go to the mirror and look at yourself, but just try to analyze your own situation. So we call ourselves maybe OFS. But are we also prompt in attending meetings in time? And also maybe are we in leadership as formators and all that? Are we really true to our calling? Because it is easier to be happy that we had elections and I didn't come out empty-handed. I landed that of a formator. And yet you have no materials, they are there, but you have no effort to look for them. You are going outside there to form. But how will you form yet you have no material formation? Of course you will form, but as well in the kitchen there are those half-baked cakes. But they are all emanating from the kitchen. So let us use the right tools. And especially, I always like mention, play by the book. Yeah. What is there? What is written? Otherwise, you may end up forming people who end up having a garment that really does not have the OFS face.
Thank you, Father, so much for sharing what you have just shared. We also go on to the secular and Franciscan dimension of a formator. A person must internalize the charism of St. Francis and understand lay spirituality so that his or her very being proclaimed secular Franciscan way of life. We are secular. And we should understand our spirituality. Even if we are formed by the first order or the nuns, we are secular. That's why the order is promoting that we must have a secular Franciscan member who is a formator. And the religious are spiritual assistants. The first orders do not know much what is happening in villages. They know it from the books sometimes. But what is actually being lived in the village, we know it. So it's the secular who can address the issues that are really happening in the village. It is very important for a formator to believe in the lay spirituality. Most fraternities are breaking up because when you come, you want to do the rosary. You want to do the divine mass. You want to do. You're going to teach each other how to live the prayer that you are making. Because you don't necessarily need to pray. You pray and you leave. So secular Franciscans, when you come together for formation, we need to teach each other. We need to share. We need to help each other to understand how we should live in the world where we are. Essential secular Franciscan traits of a formator. The formator must desire to live the gospel following St. Francis. I'm not saying the Dominican spirituality. I'm not talking about the Carmelite spirituality. They are important. They are just like spices. But you must be prepared to live the Franciscan spirituality. It must exhibit that through conversion to the gospel. Desire to live the gospel in fraternity, not on WhatsApp. We have many fraternities on WhatsApp these days. We can go on Zoom. Being close to Father is different. Like when I'm talking to him, when he's in Kenya and I'm talking to him. I've known Father Sarah Yakobo, I've known Father Machos, but it means more for me now that I've seen him physically. So members of the order, we must come together and we must meet in fraternities. In the fraternity, that is where we know about each other. When I tell you that there's no food in the house, you understand because you know me. You see me at fraternal meetings, I'm looking so frail. As members, you are about to ask what is happening. But on WhatsApp, I can tell you all is fine, and it's fine. So we need to find each other in fraternity. Fraternity is very, very important for us, secular Franciscan. As a member of the Catholic, desire to live the gospel as a member of the Catholic Church. What is the Catholic Church teaching about? One wife, one husband. How many wives do you have? The African men. You name them. And the women of today, long ago it used not to be like that, but the women of today, you can have more husbands than the husband. So, but what is the Catholic teaching? What is the Catholic Church teaching? Let us live according to what our church is teaching us. Living a secular lifestyle. Like I said, we are not religious. We are not in the convents. Say the rosary as you clean your house. Pray as you work, as you cook, as you iron your husband's clothes. Because sometimes you want to be like religious. We are secular. In life-giving union with all members of the Franciscan family, as you can see, I cannot do without you, and you cannot do without me, because we are members of the family. You must also be familiar with sacred scripture, the rule, the general constitution, the international statutes, and the national statutes. I think Jenny spoke about this. We need to have the national statutes. Because those people who come for chapters that you do not have approved national statutes, then we can use what is in the general constitution. But if you write exactly what you want done in your country, that fits with the reality of your country, then the national statutes are very important. The ritual you heard yesterday when we were talking about making the religious vows and making the promises. The ritual is very important. You can't make professions, you can't make admissions without going by the ritual. The Franciscan charism, you ought to have that. The silence moments are very important. The charism, how do you live the gospel? How do you rebuild the church? Books and resources on St. Francis and Clare and other Franciscan saints. You ought to be somebody who reads official church documents. You need to be very conversant on these. You need to know about them because, like I said, you have a priest already joining the secular Franciscan. How do you assist him? What is the role of a formator? The work of the formator needs prayer and relying on the Holy Spirit to guide. If you are a formator who doesn't pray, you have got a very big challenge. Very big challenge. Because you end up forming people to be like you. You can't tell people about the gospel. So what you can tell people about is about yourself. Sometimes you think you are teaching people or you are sharing about God, but when you are sharing about yourself. So you must be a person who prays a lot. A person who relies on the Holy Spirit. What is the Holy Spirit saying to me? Calling prospective members to conversion and accompanying them on their spiritual journey, leading the way wherever necessary. Wherever necessary. Sometimes we want to work for the people we are following. We should let them and assist when it is necessary. Giving individual attention to each candidate, especially by being aware of each one's unique circumstances and personality. We have already shared that most of our members, they can't use English language. Some of them have not gone to school, but they have the spirituality of St. Francis. How do we help them? You can't tell them you can go and read, but I cannot read. So we must know how we help and how we assist these brothers and sisters who are coming to us and needing our assistance. Allowing her to love Christ, to determine all that is and all that she does is a format. Okay, allow the formator, you must allow God's love to work in you. And to do everything that you do, going back, how do you love Christ? How do you do your things? Sharing your gifts and talents with the fraternity and expecting nothing in return. I think we've talked about this. Formulating plans of action that are reasonable and can be accomplished, yet being willing to evaluate and change direction should they prove ineffective. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, someone shared about members of the fraternity running away from the fraternity. It shows that something did not go well there. Are we willing to change the method of teaching? The method of sharing, the method of assisting our brothers and sisters. We can't use the same method all the time. We can do group work. Some people can do well in groups. Some people can do well when you show them pictures. Some people can do well when you talk to them and you share with them. A formator must be able to understand that. The mission of the formator is very simple. and scriptural. It is the mission of the disciples, the mission of St. Francis and all the evangelizers, you and me. The mission is to go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teach them to observe all of the commands I gave you, and know that I am with you always, yes, to the end of time. So the Formator, if you rely on your own, these words of God does not make any sense to you. Because he's saying, I will be with you to the end of times. So when you are journeying, you must know that you are not journeying with these people on your own. There is somebody very important who is all God, who is supreme good, who is with you all the time. Francis made these words his own. As formators, may we please make these words our own. Appointing formators because they are good or educated and not trained to be formators is very, very dangerous. Because we find somebody who the English is very good, they are educated, they've got good jobs, and automatically we say this person is a good formatter. Like I've said, they must be psychologically mature, must be Christian, and must be Franciscan. So you can be educated, but not any of these three. Those we are forming, we must accept them. Some listen until they get the meaning of the material and then make a spontaneous clip on their own, like I've said. I think I've spoken about that. And we also need to rely on the positive attributes of a person. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday. Imagine you have got a wife who is always complaining about you, but she doesn't want to go back to her home. Every time you come from work, she's complaining. She's complaining and complaining. The woman doesn't even see anything good that she do. Is life possible there? Okay. Do as I do. Yes. Stand up and do as I do. Do as I do. Do as I do. Do as I do. As I do. Yes, 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 I do. Sorry for keeping breathe in. Out. In. Out. Anyways. Thank you very much. So we also need to look at the strength of a person that we are forming. Let us develop them towards what they are good at. Because we are not told to do the same thing. You know, there are some priests who are very good at preaching. But there are also some priests who can, if they take you for adoration, you really feel that you are somewhere. There are some priests who are very good at counseling. So we must also know that we all have different gifts. So let us work and support those people who have got different and talents and who have got different strength that they have. Like even liturgy, we have some people who are very good at organizing the liturgy. Let us support them. There are others who have got a spirituality to visit the poor. Let us support them. We must also involve those people we are forming in dialogue. They must be allowed to share. We must allow them to talk. We must talk to each other. We must listen. Because sometimes when we are forming people, we know it all. We want to tell them, do this, do that. But it's very important that we engage in dialogue. Redirecting questions. I think I've spoken about this. We need to allow the work of the Holy Spirit to lead. Our inquirers and candidates also grow in wisdom and understanding of their vocation as they progress through the various stages of formation. Please let us not hurry people to profess. We are not in any hurry. Where are we rushing to? This is the form of life. Father said he has been in formation for 13 years. 13 good years. Doing almost the same thing. And if you could talk to these priests, they will tell you a story. And like you have heard, some are staying home. And some decide to go home. Because when you feel you don't have a vocation, don't force yourself to be in the order because it's a vocation. It's a call, this is a call. And before later, if you realize that this person who has come for formation does not have a call, don't hesitate or don't be shy. It's not about numbers. The council, please don't vote for the person who has got a Carmelite spirituality. We have got a call to the Carmelites. We have got a call to the Dominicans. And still the person, like Jenny was saying, it's not charity. Remember, you are working with people from different backgrounds. You have to be very creative. Don't use the same method every day. You are only a facilitator, but you are not a teacher. In conclusion, let us aim at living what we transmit and transmit what we live with love and passion. Let us not confuse formation material and information. We are crying for formation material every day. There is more than enough formation material on SHIO's website. What have we done with that material? We haven't finished what you are eating. And you already want something that is. Finish what you are eating and request for more. Formation is transmission of vital knowledge, emotions, and vibrations coming from the real living experience which involves our whole being. Please, my dear brothers and sisters, let us live what we want those who are following us to live. St. Francis didn't go about forming people. What he did was he just lived the people. They are married and the married fell in love with the life. This is what we should do as formators. Let us not settle for less. And that is where we are saying, please, go with the priests who have been in formation for 13 years and you will never go wrong. A formator who does not start is not a formator. If you want to work with only what you had when you joined the body, formation must be contagious fire. We cannot light a fire by thinking about it. We are children of the seraphic father, St. Francis. And as you have seen on the walls, we have fire on the wall. The fire was started long back. Let us keep it burning. There we have some fire, and here we have some fire. And yesterday I was so touched. I think we also the martyrs of Uganda, how they were burned. And we can see how much we play around with the faith that others died for. We really need to start again. For up until now, we have done nothing. We have done nothing. Any questions or comments?
In conclusion, let us see what reaching what has reached what we believe with love and passion. That word passion. With compassion. Passion is especially for me. Passion. Not important.
Thank you, Sister Eremenciana, for the inspiring lecture. I just want to share with you about the national statute. We were afraid to prepare the national statute because without our materials, we were saying that. Fortunately, I have contacted Father Emmanuel Muslim already. Some of you might know him. And he gave me a model. There is on the job, I think, a model every several years renewed. We can use that and prepare the national statute easily. For sure, the one who knows the judiciary aspect will follow us, and she, for example, for us, Daniela Rebak helped us a lot. When we prepare, she sent every comment to us and we discuss about it. And finally, we succeeded thanks to her unfailing fellowship, and I would like to thank her on this occasion.
So just to quickly reply, if you want in those documents, I've got them right here. The outline of the draft of the national statute. If anybody wants it, you can get it from me now. We'll give you an email address.
I wanted to be clarified on. I wanted to be clarified on formation for the youth. Somebody said that when they double belonging, when they get married, they can still remain in the youth front. But for me, I thought you have matured and you should join the OFS because you are married. You cannot discuss with them same things. For you are married, and if you are a lady, and these people are going for their activities, they have activities. I don't think your husband will allow you to go jumping around with these other youth boys. And if you are a youth now you are a man, and you say you are belonging with this side, I don't think you can still continue enjoying yourself with the youth girls. Your wife will also ask what you are doing there. I would like to be clarified on that. For me, I thought when you get married, you are mature, you get promoted.
Graduate.
Thank you very much for that question, but Nicholas is going to answer that question. I'll take one more question, then Nicholas will come forward and share.
Thank you very much, sister. There are times she has been commenting about prayer and work. I'm a member of the married couple. We made a program with families. We went in one family, and the husband came out and told us, "Oh, thank you that you have come. My wife is from Monday to Sunday, she goes out for prayers. One time I sat here and told her, you know what she did? She brought in the friends here to pray for the devil to get out of the house. Myself and her, who is the devil. Yes. 2. Comment number. I do counseling to the married couple. But most of the married couples that come in our office, they don't practice. They don't. That's why they have problems. And this is what we have discovered. That when you pray together as a family, you pray in faith. And the fruit of faith is the love. Yeah. And the fruit of love is the service. And the fruit of service is peace. And the fruit of peace is unity. A family where there is a prayer, you cannot go wrong. And the so-called domestic violence will not appear anyway. This is the last comment. After prophecy, we are taken up by apostolic. Okay? About our calling, our mission. When you ask somebody, why are you not coming in the prayer? Sorry, in the fraternity. You know, I'm very, very busy. Busy. With the work. With the work. With the work. Forget our own calling. But in busy with the activities, the apostolic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my dear brothers and sisters. We will continue with this discussion in the evening. This time I'll ask Brother Nicholas to come and make a presentation on the double belonging of the UFRAS. And thank you. Maybe you can clap hands for us.
Thank you, Sister, for taking us through information. And I'm also glad we given an opportunity to share about UFRA. Also, especially I want to thank our brother from Kenya, I've forgotten the name, who wrote this question, inquiry, and other members that we may get to know more about UFRA. We have many members with us, but I think we have done them a service not to mention well about them. So it was not prepared for today. But I'm going to share a little bit of a presentation I've made with one of the countries here in Uganda some time ago when I was still the UFRA animator. On all our fraternity councils and Central Franciscan, we need to have an office bearer for infra and medical, especially when we have youth in our fraternity, because it's one of our apostles, as Central Franciscans. And if you want to know more about this, in our general constitutions, I think it's Article 96, 97, everything is talked about on how we deal with the young Franciscans. So there is a little bit history. Around 70 years ago, UFRA was established first in Italy in 1948 by the Franciscan Order of Friars, Minor. And then in 1954, the Capuchins also adopted it. In 1958, the Conventuals and the Third Order of St. Francis. In 2009, all these youth Franciscan movements became united. Yesterday, Father told us that before Vatican II, Central Franciscans were Central Franciscans Capuchin, Central Franciscans OFM, Central Franciscans Conventual. But with the changes in the church, especially brought about by Vatican II, also many changes came up in the Franciscan family. The same happened to UFRA. So in 2009, when all these Franciscan movements became united, the church entrusted them to be animated by the Central Franciscans because they knew them better, because usually these are children of the Central Franciscans. And they were to be given spiritual assistance, just like the Central Franciscans, by the First Order. So today we have one international young Franciscan movement known as Franciscan Youth or UFRA. In some countries, you may find them calling them young Franciscans, others they call them Franciscan Youth, but it is all the same. The acronym is UFRA. So young Franciscans or UFRA is a Catholic fraternity of young people who, in the same manner as St. Francis of Assisi, served Jesus in the same manner as he did and formed as an integral part of the Central Franciscan order. They journey together. They need to journey together with the Central Franciscans. So formation for Central Franciscanism is shared with the young people. Because in the field of pastoral care of youth, it is found that young persons are attracted to St. Francis and that they wish to deepen their Christian and Franciscan vocation. Young people admire Francis because he was a young person. So they hear the stories of St. Francis and they want to be like him. But they need to be guided on how to better become like St. Francis. So to these young persons, UFRA and the OFS provide options. Of course, there are many movements of youth, but there are those particular elements they want that depict Francis. While respecting the demands of the youth in modern times, their prizes, problems, and questions need to be answered. Because youth usually have many questions. This is a time when genuine and irrepressible questions arise about the meaning of life and the direction of their own lives. This was given by Pope Benedict in African Models. So that is a part of discernment. And they ask themselves, Lord, what do you want me to do? And all that we've been talking about is about discernment. So, like Francis, they want to rebuild the house of God. Because Francis says, God rebuild my house as you see it, it is all being destroyed. That's what God told Francis. So they ask themselves the same question. And we too can ask ourselves the same questions. Is it possible to meet Jesus Christ even today? Where can it be found? How and in what way? Continue. So the essential elements in the Franciscan vocation journey, just like us, Central Franciscans and everyone, is to feel the call of the Holy Spirit to undergo in fraternity the experience of Christian life and the progressive discovery of St. Francis, his project of life and his value. The ecclesial and social presence as a condition having conflict and positive experiences. They've been talked about information, as Sister has been sharing with us. Now, the UFRA is different from other youth groups. How? Because they accept the rule of the Central Franciscan Order as an inspiration document. We say that they are at a stage of the vocational journey. They are deciding what vocation to take on. So, because they're in the Franciscan family, they are part and parcel of the Franciscan family, the rule of the Central Franciscan Order is an inspiration to them. They need to know it. So in their formation, they need to study the rule. The personal and formal commitment made before God and the fraternity believe that inspiration. They made a profession. But for them, it is not called profession of vow. It's called the promise because it is renewable. It is not perpetual. It is not permanent. Since they are still on the vocation journey. Belong to the Franciscan family and being an integral part of Blessed Hope. They are authentically members of the Franciscan family by virtue of their promise. The accompaniment and animation provided by secular Franciscans. That's in special. You may not find it in other groups. Its organizational structure and specific methods of formation, the vocation process, which normally, but not necessarily, deals with the SFO. So they have their structure, they have their specific methods of formation, and usually this formation is geared towards them becoming secular Franciscan. But of course, we have got many former youth who have become St. Christy, who have become FM friars, chief conventors. So even in our formation, we should not strictly direct them to the SFO because this is a vocation journey for them to discern where they want to go, where God wants to lead them. So they have their own national statutes. Much as several Franciscans, we have ours. The youth also have their own particular national statutes, and these statutes are approved by the National Council of the Central Franciscan Order. Where there is no Central Franciscan Order, the president of the chiefs, which sets down the conditions to belong to the Franciscan youth, approved. So, as our sister Jenny shared with us yesterday, the Franciscan family, they have a place. You can see the first order is there, the second order there, and the third order, they have a place down here. So this was an assembly of UFRA, assembly of Central Franciscans, and other Franciscan religious and general in the family tree of the Franciscan family. So this is the council. This was the council at the time when the Central Franciscan Order in Uganda. Just we were trying to show the youth that as they have a council, you don't say council for the Central Franciscan. That was the council then for the UFRA here in Kampala. So the rule, an inspection document, when they make a promise, they are given a term, an identity of being Franciscan. So this is the rule as Sister shared with us. We can continue with that program. And they need to know it. Continue, it is in 3 parts. So this is the UFRA vocation journey. And this is international that has been given us. When you go online on the chef's website, there is also a link to another website for UFRA specified and has all these documents guiding us. There is one document called UFRA, A Way of Vocation. It is explaining everything about UFRA, who they are, their identity, how they do formation, how they belong, double belonging, which we are going to look at also. It is there. So they have 3 stages of formation. The first one, What we have called orientation is called initiation. Then next they have the formation, the promise in the UFRA. And then C, they have what we call deepening one's vocation. And for them, this may even take only 1 year. And they make a promise as long as the fraternity council also decides that there is also a vocation for UFRA in one of its members. So the contents that have been given, that UFRA teaching methods adequate for the needs of the world youth. When you go in our constitution, it is not the constitution of the UFRA, but the constitution of the Secular Franciscan under Article 96. You will find the explanation there, according to the existing realities in the various countries. Now, they have to be formed in 3 dimensions: human, Christian, and Franciscan. Because they are growing, so they need to grow integrally. And just like before. Now, this is for Uganda. Okay, this is still international. This is still international, but we, as Uganda, we came up with our own formation outline. Internationally, there is this guideline, initiation. This is aimed to help the young listen and those score in their heart and discover the UFRA pattern of the problem to begin education with them in earnest. Then they give you the methodologies, but it only ends there. Then you have to come up with the content. Now, for us, because UFRA, usually in our parishes, we have the flyers, social assistants, using the experience they share, but guided by these outlines. Continue. Now, here in Uganda, we try to identify for that particular section of initiation the content that we can add there. So in human, we have that ways of seeing and listening to others, to nature, oneself, to God, analysis and evaluation of reality. So all that. For human, we do that. For Christian, we do that. Then for the Franciscan, we look at who is Saint Francis, who is Saint Clare, who is Saint Elizabeth, the Franciscan family. Now, this is what we have brought. But I don't want to be, how do you call it, handling for members in different fraternities who may not be practical in all fraternities. But we have put it there as a guideline. The National Council and the Secular Franciscan have put this there for them to implement, but I'm sure it is not implemented yet in all the fraternities. And we have shared this with Kenya. The animator for Kenya has actually published booklets of documents and this information for the National Fraternity of Kenya. So members of Soko, probably that content has not yet reached you, but the Kenya Fraternity has already published books using the same content that we have here. Continue. So those are the personalities in the Franciscan family we try to share with the young people. Then when we go to the second stage, formation towards the commitment UFRA, the international guidelines are about how we need to go about fully interpret. So that document is there, you shall see it. Now go what? This is now what we have put down for ourselves as a guideline. But we still need to develop content based on it, so that when the formators in the UFRA fraternities are given that responsibility, can be able to implement it. See? So this is the last stage. It's like ongoing formation. These are the international guidelines. Then we come up with our own. So those are some of the formational materials that could be used in formation of UFRA. You have like the Secular Franciscan scripture. The UFRAs have their own documents, just like the Secular Franciscan.
we have statutes, we have celebrations in brotherhood. The celebrations in brotherhood are the same as the rituals in the Central Franciscan Order. Then you have youth assembly conclusions. The youth assembly conclusions are like the chapter conclusions. We have different terms. In UFRA, we have specific terms for the way they do things, unlike what we use in the Central Franciscan Order. So the OFS documents are also some of the resource materials that also can be used, like of St. Francis, like of St. Clair. Here, especially like of Uganda matters, they are very iconic in the enriching us faith, church documents, like of other Franciscan saints. Some of those CDs we have developed here for the project here. But those are sourced from the first encyclicals that was in William. So just like the Central Franciscan, the organization is from local, regional, national, and international. The same structure, the Central Franciscan Order. That's how they are also. At every level, we have youth. At every level of the International Council, we have youth represented there. So the local fraternity is the primary scale of the youth front, the place where the young people undergo their experience in Christian life in the light of the message of St. Francis. The fraternity meets often, for example, weekly, to live together their relationship with God and with their brothers and sisters. The meetings must include moments of prayer, information, as well as moments of action and recreation. Because these are youth, they need activities. The gatherings are to be organized in such a way that they foster youth insertion in the Franciscan family and in the local church. So when we have gatherings as Central Franciscans, as Franciscan family, they join us. When they join us, they learn from us. That is part of formation as well.
Yeah, I like this explanation, but maybe just for clarification. What motivation makes one enjoy these two membership in both UFRA and OFS?
What motivation? Is there any UFRA member who wants to, because I'm no longer double belonging? Must answer that.
From the audience, can one make a clarification as to how one should enjoy a dual membership, both the UFRA and the OFS?
Okay, thank you so much. We had such a discussion also as a national fraternity of Kenya, and our argument was, what do we need to do? Because we had been having issues and people complaining, many of our investors are getting lost because they become old. Many of them are old, and we are not seeing new faces or new energy in the order. We are not seeing people who can keep the order moving, going on. That's why we started, when we saw the communication from the International Assembly on calling us to start double belonging, that's when we said, okay, we need it because we need to see new energy getting into the secular Franciscan order, so that we should not be saying OFS is for the old. If people have been working in the UFRA with that motivational call and feeling that I am in the right place, that these people can be very vital or of importance when they join the OFS. That is what we think. Yeah, the question that we were maybe raising up, or we were also beginning again, is, for example, me, It's obvious, yes, I have a girlfriend because I'm thinking of having one day to get married. I have a lady, we are talking and saying, okay, can we maybe let her make a family? But now the question is the discussion, and people are just, it has been raised here, but people are not change. We can reach a stage and say, okay, now I come to the audience and say, here I am, I've decided I need to do what? To get to marry. And then maybe I marry in church and I start a family. Can I still be UFRA and OFS? That's the question that people have been dodging, but we need to be clarified about it. I am married, and again, that is the question that we ourselves also are having some difficulties to.
Okay, maybe let me put it in a more clear way. What I'm asking is, what motivation makes you feel that you can belong to UFRA and as well as OFS at the same time? That is my question. What motivates you to feel that you can be in UFRA and in OFS at the same time?
Thank you for that. Thank you very much, Father, for such a question. Because the guide that we are not asking about double belonging. Because when you are in the double belonging, you are a UFRA again, you are OFS. What motivates someone if you are taking classes or you are making formation with the OFS in secular Franciscan order? Again, you are motivating the young Franciscan who are still youth, still journeying, trying to look for the vocation, where to go. You are motivating them that you can either be a secular Franciscan by either guiding them rightly to take which vocation. Then again, by being an example to them, either follow your footsteps in your journey as a secular Franciscan, because for you, you are still a youth, however, you are married, but still you are making a formation with secular Franciscan journey. But being a secular will not stop you from joining the young ones, because you are a youth, and again they take you as an example. Because in the beginning, like our brother, how he have said, they used to see the secular Franciscans as the old people, the order for the old people. But after the double belonging, it have allowed the members to journey together with the secular Franciscans. Some have said, no, now I'm no longer a youth. I can directly go to where? To the secular Franciscan. Because we consider, one, when you are professing in the secular Franciscan, we consider you a youth at initial formation. Then you go directly to start the formation in secular Franciscan. But the other formation you have been taking in a youth, it is considered in secular Franciscan as initial formation. Then again you go directly to start a new formation in secular Franciscan. Do you understand?
On the light note, suppose one is a UFRA married, as the example they gave here. You have kids, maybe children, let me say so, and then they are also grown up. Will you be with them in the UFRA? No. I think the best guideline here is there has to be age limit. And with this age limit, allows those that are of age to transit to the next group, which happens to be the OFS. Otherwise, if we mix the two and even allow this dual membership, there will be a very big problem. And let me give an example. In the parish, we have the youth, let's say PMC, and the youth. And we have also the MYM, and maybe the YASA, and maybe CW and CMA, the Catholic men and the Catholic women being at the apex. So I think the danger here is, should we allow and maybe to put it in a more entertain this sort of whatever without tackling the age limit issue, there will be danger. Because exactly when somebody is married and is in a group of the youth, already the example shown there may not be all that good. So I think we better make a clear demarcation whereby if you reach a certain age, you should transit to the next stage, which is the OFS. Are we clear on that? Because later on, there can be issues of somebody sticking, saying, okay, I still want to remain to UFRA, giving an example, and at the same time, I am in OFS.
Thank you, Father. There's a document that gives us the age limit for somebody to be in the UFRA and to be also OFS. It's 30 years. Once you are above 30 years, you can't be in the two groups. And the other thing, you know, I used to work with the UFRA. So not with the UFRA, but with the youth in my parish. And, you know, the youth, they want young blood. We would go for some gatherings. And, you know, I don't know, for some reasons, people want the youth to work with adults or old people. We go there and they leave their aunts, we call them aunts and uncles. Like in my parish, in Zimbabwe, they are called aunts and uncles. They would leave because they didn't want to be with an old person. You know, if they are very old and you are working with these kids, they can do all things. You sleep, they wake up and they start. You have to have energy enough to work with them. You really have to have energy to work with them. And the other challenge is that we have been talking about Christian traits, Franciscan traits, and human traits. We are afraid because our people are not ready to live up to those traits. If we have people who are exemplary in how they live their lives, we don't have that danger. But the danger only comes when the one who is double belonging is not living up to the standards. It's very good for the young to work together. Very good. You know, with all these new things coming up, if you could, like, we talk of people dying, very old people in the fraternities. You know, imagine working in an old people's home, and those people who are taking care of the old are also old. Just trying to imagine. But if you have got young people around, you know, sometimes you feel very young. I always get fascinated with the African men. When they marry, they make sure they marry someone very, very young, so that that person can keep them young. We need these young people in the group, in the family. And we have to make sure that we must give them the chance to make mistakes and also to help them. And I think we also need to continue this in the evening because already it's time for lunch. So in the evening we are free. In the evening we can ask questions, we can discuss.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Eremenciana, for that explanation. Double belonging seems to be a controversial issue, but as explained, for you to be in UFRA, you must be between 14 and 30 years. Those are the international guidelines. Now, in some countries, because of the different circumstances, some people look young when they are very old. So their constitutions say by 35 you are still a youth. Yes, it is 30, but internationally it is 30. You can't be elected on the council when you're beyond 30. But the reality is that in some countries, the people go beyond 30.
Sorry. The international statutes, nobody over 30 years can belong to you.
Yes.
It was in some countries, but you cannot belong to you for if you're over 30. Even if it's 35 and you're down.
That is the regulation. But practically, what is happening in some countries? That's the law. So, for the sexual Franciscan, they have also status when, at what age you become a sexual Franciscan. They differ. By the time you profess, you should be at a certain age of adulthood. So before that age, you cannot be accepted, you cannot be admitted, you cannot profess. So because of time, we've been requested that this engagement continues in the evening. I want to moderator to come. For us, for us.
Thank you very much. For that energy, information, and sharing with us. And now we can stay for lunch. And I request you have our thoughts for the prayer.
Dear members, let's not forget our meeting. And one that the
Okay, we pray in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Why they made this? They never wanted to use the main only use more businesses. That's what they were putting on. I know people just see now when you talk about use, you just see it in another perspective. That's how the order now is more the US they can grow maturity. But you see now exam system, which when you are in the job room, you are thinking most. The other class for young classes, ongoing, but but now,
They need